June 8th, this is where it's all going to happen, at the Milan Palace of Justice, as you see behind me. For the first time ever, the CIA is going to go to trial for extraordinary rendition. No, I'm not talking about Frank Sinatra's extraordinary rendition of New York, New York. I'm talking about kidnapping, CIA style. Although, maybe Frank would have some knowledge about that when he's, growing up in New Jersey. But this is something completely different. The CIA is finally going to court to face a jury, a judge, for kidnapping right here in Milan.
Well, rendition has been going on a long time. It basically means the transfer of prisoners around the world without any kind of extradition or legal procedure. In the old days, rendition meant bringing people back to the United States to face trial, to actually go to an open court before judge and jury. So even if people were kidnapped abroad, eventually they had a fair trial in the US. What I'm writing about is extraordinary rendition, which is something that goes further. And it also involves the kidnapping or capture of people around the world, but rather than being brought back to justice, they're sent to other countries, to third countries, places like Egypt, Morocco, Syria, even Uzbekistan. And these are countries where there's no guarantee at all these people will be put on trial, and there's a high likelihood that they will actually be tortured.
Well, an extradition from one country to another is illegal. It's illegal because there are risks. There are risks of people's citizenship rights being violated, their asylum rights, their right to asylum, and their right to be free from torture. Any country which sends a person to another country where they face a significant risk of torture, any country that does that is violating international law.
I went to Milan to investigate the extraordinary rendition program that had been done, after all, in my name and on my tax dollar. I started with the indictment, in which it was stated that the 25 alleged CIA agents had plotted the Italian kidnap operation from some of Milan's top luxury hotels, spending what the prosecutor calls unlimited resources. Yeah, so apparently the CIA guys were using frequent flyer miles to check in to this, the most glorious hotel in all of Milan. My God, this is my tax dollars at work. I'm quite shocked. Well, I see my CIA dollars didn't go to waste. Buongiorno. I'd like to check in.
Which name?
It's Max Kaiser. Super.
Can I have your passport, sir?
Ah, yes. There's a pool in the room? Oh, nice. Very nice. Well, it must be nice having unlimited resources. I guess that's a euphemism for unlimited expense account. These guys must be using that new American Express Black Card. But I guess in their case it would be American Express Black Ops Card. Don't leave Langley without it. You know, the expenses are really shocking when you look at the numbers. What these guys are racking up on me, the taxpayer. Learjet, $1,500 to $2,500 an hour. The Gulfstream 4. Oh, what cheapies. They didn't even step up to the Gulfstream 5, the G5. They only going for the G4, $5,000 to $8,500 an hour. Here's a curious one, Timberland boots. Oh, that's right, Timberland boots. All these CIA guys like to wear fashionable Timberland boots. Remember, inside every CIA agent is a Kate Moss, yearning to breathe free.
The fact that that amount of money is being spent means that it's being condoned, means that status is being given to the people who are doing this job, and it again makes them feel justified.
What do we got over here? Oh, nice tub, yeah, standard issue. I wonder where the little rubber ducky is. Probably billing out at $10,000 an hour because it's a little rubber ducky with a AK-47. Soap, nothing but the creme de la creme for my friends at the CIA. With no expense spared on these 25 CIA agents, surely it was some kind of last meal before a mission so dangerous that some might not come back. Maybe it was Osama bin Laden himself they were after. I went to the scene of the crime to find out.
What happened was there was an Islamic militant living in Milan, Italy, called Abu Omar, whose full name is Osama Nasser. He was walking to midday prayers and then he disappeared on the way. Presumed kidnapped by persons unknown. There were some witnesses to say there had been some people there who bundled him into a van.
The white van pulled up. Abu Omar was abducted, kidnapped, right on this very street. The neighbors heard the screams. You can see some of them now. Abu Omar must have thought he had won the lottery. For after being driven to the U.S. Air Force Base in Aviano, he was put on board a Learjet, bound for Ramstein, Germany. Here he was put aboard the even more exclusive Boston Red Sox-owned Gulfstream 4, headed for Cairo.
Yeah, it's quite surprising, really. You move people around in jets that you'd normally associate with, rock stars or VIPs or politicians. People being, moved in jets that had in-flight video screens, champagne buckets in the background.
Mission accomplished. The agents spread out to Florence, Munich, and here in Venice. This was becoming an episode of Lifestyles of the Rich and Sadistic, where more champagne and luxury hotels were on order. Abu Omar, of course, would by now be in some dungeon in Cairo, where he was perhaps already enduring the first round of torture. Torturing somebody doesn't appear to be too bad from this perspective. I'm sorry, extraordinary rendition. Yeah, not bad. I could get used to this.
Suspects are taken to third countries for one of three reasons. One reason might be because the local intelligence forces might have a better capacity to interrogate the person and use abusive techniques that might otherwise be illegal if U.S. forces used them. So you send people to Egypt, they can speak Arabic, they can interview an Egyptian suspect and get better answers than maybe the FBI would get. The problem is with the first one, it doesn't shield you legally. You are complicit in the torture by sending the person there and taking part in it. So I'm not really sure what the U.S. government thought they were getting away with by sending people to other countries like Egypt for interrogation.
I don't think torture is justified under any circumstances, and furthermore, I don't think it is effective. I don't think it produces the results it claims to, and the justification is about getting information. In my opinion, from what I've seen, listening over the last 10 years to survivors of torture, it's very unusual that they're just looking for information. They're looking for names, and they usually have the names already. They're just trying to get the person to betray their colleagues.
Of course, the Italians had been building a solid case against Abu Omar, and now he was suddenly missing. If the Italians started to investigate, the probability is that this would implicate the CIA. But the CIA pulled a fast one and sent a fake memo to the Italians, claiming that Abu Omar had, in fact, fled to the Balkans. The fake memo worked. The Italians stopped looking for Abu Omar.
But then a year after his kidnap, he managed to phone home. He'd actually been released from custody in prison in Egypt, and he phoned home. He phoned his wife, who was still living in Milan, and he phoned some friends, and he described what happened to him. Now, the Italian police, who listened to a very large number of telephones, tap a lot of phones, were listening into those phone calls. And they heard on the telephone tap him describe how it was a team of Americans and possibly Italians who'd picked him up on the street. It was a kidnap operation, and how he'd been transferred via some base, put on a plane and taken to Egypt and severely tortured. So there it was, the evidence that there was some team of people responsible for his kidnap.
It was from this point in 2004 that life was about to get very real for 25 CIA alleged kidnappers.